I don't see in the groups. Dudi?
When a person discovers that behind Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, works the force of the Creator,
that happens bit by bit. This is all a matter of the exile in Egypt. Exile, galut, means that we're all in exile from the one unique and special force. When we believe in many forces, many causes, until we reach there's none else besides him and we start working with it, this is only after the exodus from Egypt. Meaning you don't come out of Egypt until you understand that you're only dealing with one force.
once you discover that there is only one force, then you actually came out of Egypt.
You're not, you discovered.
So what is the prayer when one discovers that behind this force of Pharaoh stands the Creator? So what kind of prayer does he have then once he discovers that? What can he come out of once he discovers this? Or is this the Exodus in itself?
No, now he has who to work with. For whom to work with? Only for the Creator alone. Only for the force of bestowal it wants to be attached to. In Egypt, he discovers this is so. Out of the negative negation of it. Before Egypt, what does it say? That our forefathers used to work for idols. They used to bow down to all the different forces of nature. This is us, in a state where we see this world, the way it affects us, and we think we depend on stars or human beings or forces of nature, or human society, or whatever. This is idol worshipping. When you go into the wisdom of Kabbalah and you start understanding that all we're dealing with is the good inclination and the evil inclination, these two forces of nature, then we enter the field that the Lord has blessed. And then we start discerning it, meaning being under the control of Pharaoh and what's against it. What do we have? And then you discern one force against the other, until you see that it is I, and not a messenger, not an angel, nothing. Only I. It only acts from two sides, the anterior and the posterior, on you, so that you can discern the difference between good and evil. Because you, as the created beings, you cannot see only one thing. Only one thing out of its opposite. That's why I've created the evil inclination, and now you understand that I created it so that you can discern the good inclination out of it, and so that you will want to come closer to the good inclination, understanding that all there is the good inclination. Also, behind the evil one, there's only the one that is good, that does good. It's always this way, for the good, for the bad. In any case, only He acts, only He rules. If this is what you have already decided, this is the beginning of the true path, when there's only one good force that controls. And even behind the evil forces, doesn't matter what, if a person sees that and he decides this is so, he's willing to work only for the sake of this good force. Then he comes out of Egypt. There's no more struggle in him about the good and the bad, because there's almost besides him, and all he has to do is connect himself to there's almost besides him with all his different levels in him. He rises, climbs to the mountain of the Creator. He renews the will to receive. However, it's not as in the time of the forefathers who used to be seemingly believed in many gods, nor it is in the time of Egypt, when a person believes in two forces, good and evil, and all the ministers they had. Here he already stands in front of his will to receive on Mount Sinai, when hatred came down to the people of the world, meaning all these forces get much stronger standing on Mount Sinai. What does it mean? That God created one and conversely the other. So you'll get the Torah, but you'll get a hardening of the heart called Mount Sinai. And you'll feel the resistance in all your internal nations of the world against the point of the heart. And then you have to work to implement the Torah until by that you are rewarded with the building of the Holy Temple.
Can we define it so that the revelation of the good force, there is none else besides him, is the exodus from Egypt?
The exodus from Egypt is when you determine that it is I and not a messenger. But that's only the beginning. It's the beginning before the next step. Now you have to determine the uniqueness of the Creator atop every desire, atop every thought you have, atop the 613 desires. That's why you're getting the light that reforms, and then you're keeping these 613 actions, and then you reach, how should I call it, the correction, the final correction.
And how at that point one does not run away from the battle?
This is all because when he does it, he cannot run away from the battle, because he falls only from the path of Torah to the path of suffering. What do you mean running away? You have nowhere to run. You're under the control of the upper force. If you're not carrying out your choice to advance in the good way, you'll advance in the evil way, in the hard way. But you'll advance because no one is left out, and everything will return to its root. What do you mean running away? It seems to you that you're running away. It's like a child running away.
No, I mean to run away from the work.
From the work, yes, you may run away and you go back into your other life. Well, they're also not sweet, and they return you back to the work. It depends on the point of the heart. It may be that your point of the heart needs a positive strengthening, or maybe a negative strengthening. That's why a person always advances on 2 feet.